Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV. Welcome to the home of the United States Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And we're getting ready for the start of a brand new series here on Apex Racing TV, and that is BSR IMSA Sports Car Series. 3 races today. We'll get into how they're going to work in just a moment, but here in the commentary box tonight is me, Adam Bath, and alongside me on the cameras is Sam Kumo, and also in the commentary box with us is Sam Fitzpatrick. So Sam, IMSA Sports Car Series, new series, and a chance to see some of the new cars that we've got on iRacing as well.
Yeah, very excited. This is pretty much the first race I've ever watched with these LMP1 cars, so it should be really good. I've had a little bit of a test round and they seem like good fun, particularly the fighting between the cars with that extra boost of, I think, something like 400 brake horsepower, and that's going to make for a really interesting racecraft with just deciding when to deploy that boost, leave it till the last lap, and I think that will be a really interesting factor to this, so it should be good.
Have you had a go in both the Audi and the Porsche? Because those were the 2 cars that came in the latest build that we had a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of a spin in both, and I think the BAP works quite well. I think the 2 of them have slightly different hybrid systems. That, like, I think the Audi recovers the energy slightly better, but the Porsche, when it does deploy the energy, is a little bit more powerful. So it should be interesting actually to see how the 2 kind of mix together.
Yeah, we'll look forward to see how that's going to go. Just to fill the viewers in, we've got quite a few cars represented in the field today. We've got the LMP1 cars, as we're speaking about, the Audi and the Porsche. We've also got your usual GT cars. The likes of the Porsche 911. We've got the Ferrari, we've got the Mercedes, so we've got a mixture of GT3s in there as well, and we've got quite a few big names as well. So we're running through the grid as we get set for this 20-minute race. I believe it'll be a rolling start, so I haven't seen a GT series yet on iRacing that's had a standing start, but I'll always be surprised by a BSR series. I'm sure we've seen that now over the years, but yeah, running through the grid. Bart Delman starts on pole position. Starting second is going to be Rafe Cullinan. Lee Deemer starting in 3rd. Jamie Ayres in 4th. Then Vlad Zajakovsky starting in 5th place. Then Colin Robinson 6th. Anwar Smith is in 7th. Max Wright 8th. Jim Flanagan, good to see Jim back. Veteran of the club series that used to run on a Sunday night, starting in 9th. And 10th is Richard Warmingham. Luke Clark starting in 11th. 12th, Anthony Jacobson. 13th, Adam Broughton Grant, then David Ayres 14th. 15th is Scott Malcolm, then Richard Kafenku, Adam McNally, Roy Ververke in 18th, Mick Barry in 19th, and in the cars that didn't set times, Brian Holmes in 20th. Ashley Beard, MX5 champion from a few seasons ago, which used to run in this slot on a Sunday night, starting in 21st. And 22nd is going to be John Watson. Don't know if it's the commentator, I don't think so. Oh, that's a /F1 driver. But yeah, he's starting in 22nd, then Carl Hardy 23rd. And then Forsten Helga starting in 24th. We'll run you through the format then for tonight's race meeting. First 2 races going to be 20 minutes in length. First race is a timed one, and then we'll see how many laps that takes. And then for race 2, it will be to laps. That is what the rulebook says anyway. And then for the 3rd race, we're going to have, I believe, estimated 35-minute race. And once again, we're going to be doing it on laps. So I don't know why we just don't do it 35 minutes, but that's why I'm up here and not in the steward's office. But yeah, we're getting set for the half a formation lap now, Sam, and Circuit of the Americas. It's a track that I like, but because of the strict incident limits, well, strict off tracks on this circuit, it isn't well liked by the people on iRacing.
Yeah, I have done 1 race in these cars, and that 1 race I actually got disqualified around here, so yeah, I know how difficult it can be, and also the blind apexes around here. A lot of people don't like that, especially single screen monitor users like myself. So, but I think it's got a quite nice flow, at least in that first part of the lap, and then the second half of the lap is a little bit more tight and twisty. But yeah, I think it's got good elements and bad elements, but should create at least some good racing around here. Very possible to overtake, and I think it works well with these LMP1s.
Of course, these being new cars on the service, so do we reckon we're going to be seeing quite a few mistakes from these new drivers in the LMP1 cars, because they haven't had much time to test them?
Yeah, certainly, and we could see quite a big difference in lap times as well. I think in qualifying there was 3.5 seconds between top four. So yeah, clearly some drivers have picked up this car a little bit quicker than others, but yeah, should be. You could see a few errors around there because this car isn't easy to drive.
We'll wait and see. First race coming up, 20 minutes. We'll see how the drivers will be acting. We've got 5 Porsche LMP1 cars, 5 Porsche GT Cup cars, 9 GT3 cars, and 5 GTE cars. We'll make sure we'll point out which ones are which. And now we're coming through the final corner. They're going to cross the timing line, but the drivers won't get the green flag until they cross the start line, and the pace begins to build now. Bart Delman goes, but he's going to get overtaken, I think, because Rafe Cullen very nearly did so as they crossed the line. And race 1 of the BSR IMSA series is underway here at COTA as we go into the first corner. As Sam was saying, very hard to pick out that apex if you're on a single screen. It looks like the P1 cars have done
contact
so.
in the background in turn 1. There was a couple of Mercedes, I think, got together, and there's been a bit of a pile-up
in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I think the P1 starts from the back, so that was always going to cause issues, and yeah, that's a lot of cars involved.
Well, the P1, I believe, was trying to scroll down. I think it might be Ashbeard. No, yes, it was Ashbeard. It was starting at the back of the grid because he didn't set a qualifying time. Was right in the mix straight away, and maybe something that iRacing needs to iron out because, yeah, a recipe for disaster, I think, if there's a P1 starting in the mix with all these GT3 and GTE cars.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the problem is that this league session doesn't have any different classes, so I think they're all starting together. But out in front, Bart Delman, good start from him. Ralph Cullen, and like you said, nearly got the jump on him, but I think Bart just deployed a little bit of the system and managed to pull ahead still.
Of course, that is a different aspect that you haven't really seen before in sports car racing on iRacing. The use of the recovery system, the energy recovery system, and we'll see which drivers use it best throughout the race meeting today. So race order in the LMP1 cars as they come around to complete the first lap. It's Delman still leading, Cullen in second, and Jamie Ayres, who's been able to get ahead of Lee Diemer. Leading the GTEs then, it is the Ferrari of Vlad Zajankovsky, and then Colin Robinson in second. Slightly different regulations, Sam, to the GT3s, I believe. Is it just the traction control that's different in the ABS?
Yeah, and I think the GTEs have a little bit more power and a little bit more downforce, but yeah, the GTEs don't have ABS, I believe, so a little bit easier to drive the GT3s, but you still got to push them up to the limit, especially around this place.
One person that's made an amazing start is Carl Hardy. Started 23rd on the grid, the GTE Ferrari already up into 13th. Didn't set a time in qualifying, so was able to get a very good start. Managed to dodge the wreck that happened in the first corner. Now sits in 13th position, third. The third of the Ferraris got in, of the 5 Ferraris we've got in the field today. We only lost 2 cars at the start, and they're both drivers that begin with A. Adam Broughton, Grant and Ash Beard, both out of the race already. And these LMP1 cars, Sam, can they take much damage before you have to retire them, or can they survive a bit of contact?
Well, I've heard that actually that they can survive quite long, but if you hit a curb wrong, that can cause a lot of damage, and so it's a little bit weird. So you know, you can have a relatively minor incident, but if it's on a certain part of the car, I think it can cause a lot of damage. Whereas if you maybe hit someone at a higher speed, as long as it's in a decent area, then you won't lose too much. So hopefully they'll be able to get back out there, and I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure how the point system works here, but I'm sure it'd be beneficial for them to get back out. And I think that's Luke Clark just going past. I think that may have been back mark actually. So no, that was Max Wright, who's just fallen down behind Luke Clark. So that was a good move from Luke.
Just having a look at what happened to Max Wright going into the left hand at the end of the straight, turn 12. Oh, he just loses it on the exit. The Audi, the 85 Audi, gets going again. But yeah, you're right. He's behind Luke Clark now. So right, 2 positions lower than where he started. He now sits in in 10th position. He's lost 2 positions on this lap, so see if we can get them back. Ashburn has retired from the session, so he's going to be starting at the back again for this second race of the day that's coming up after this one. We will have a reverse grid, so I'll wait and see what will happen there. Brian Holmes is in this race today, and he is in one of the Porsches. He's fighting with, that is David Ayres getting by, one of the GTE Ferraris. Now the Porsches aren't a GT3 car or a GTE car, they run there in their own class. But yeah, it looks like that Brian Holmes, who seems to be does pretty well in the Mazdas from when we watch, Sam is doing pretty well in these Porsches as well. He's got quite a big lead over the second place Porsche.
Yeah, brilliant start, and I think these drivers, David Ayres and John Watson, had that issue at turn 1 we saw, so they're just trying to get back to where they're supposed to be. But yeah, he's got a nice gap. Richard Gapenku in second place, followed by Adam McNally. So those Porsches seem to be relatively close, but certainly does seem that Holmes has the slight advantage right now.
Problem for Colin Robinson, he was second place in the Ferraris, but had a spin on the exit of the S's and is now way down the order. He was in second place in class, which was 6th position overall. It's now down to 13th position, which is the third of the Ferraris. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, Sam. It's just coming up the hill through the final part of the S's. The 77 Ferrari goes for full spin.
Yeah, I didn't quite see that one, but yeah, just watching it back now, and yeah, just seemed to just over-rotate the car on corner entry and got on that slippery curb and lost the car. So that was a bit unlucky for him because he did a perfect 180 and had to turn the car back around. But yeah, he's just got to try to recover now, and come back for the second and third races. Hope for a little bit better.
Do have an incident limit. We don't have an incident limit, I should say, today. Probably a good thing, because we aren't getting many valid lap times being set, and we're on lap 4 of the race. So shows the drivers that are picking up the odd off tracks here and there, but Mark Delman's away. 4.5 second lead over Rafe Cullinan in second. Lee Deemer's been able to get back past Jamie Ayres and into third place in the LMP1s. And Vlad Zayan-Shakovsky quite a way ahead of Anwar Smith, who is the lead GT3 car. And then Jim Flanagan trying to hold back this very close group of Luke Clark, Max Wright and Richard Warmingham. This is a fight for 8th, 9th and 10 here as they go through the opening sector. And Max Wright, after making that error earlier on, Sam, he looks like he wants to get past the bright pink number 5 car here as we go into the hairpin. Yeah,
and he's super close here. There's so many wide entries to these corners that you can go for a dive bomb. So I'm sure if he can just line it up. He's a little bit too far back, I think, this time. But he does look quick, does Mark Wright, and he should really be higher than he is. Of course, that spin did cost him quite a bit. So he'll be desperate to get at least past Luke and Jim, and then maybe try to catch Anwar as well. Anwar's a long way ahead of them already. 13 seconds clear, so a real big divide in this GT3 class.
Yeah, the Ferraris and the GT3s splitting things up a bit, making it a bit hard to follow. Battle here between Carl Hardy and, well, it was a battle. Carl Hardy's just spun it. He was the biggest mover in the field. He still will be, because there is such a gap. There's quite a big field spread here after only 4 laps, probably because of that crash at the start of the race. Hardy gets going again, and I think he only lost 1 position after all that.
Yeah, I didn't quite see that one, but yeah, just lost the position to Anthony Jacobson, and he's a little bit on his own. He's got David Ayres actually just behind him, who was caught in that instant. I think we got back to second place actually. Yeah, just going down to the hairpin, and Lee Deemer, I think he may have just lost that. No, he's still in third place. Oh, bit of a lock up there, and that's going to really halt his charge. But yeah, Lee looks good out there, trying to take that second place.
Yeah, Jamie Ayres was battling with him, but yeah, this is the battle for second, isn't it? Between Cullinan and Deemer, just clocked on there. Deemer, very good lap last time, 3 seconds quicker than Rafe Cullinan. Maybe picked up a slowdown somewhere, or something out of the ordinary, because that was a pretty slow lap by Cullinan on that last lap. Deemer was actually quicker than our race leader Bart Daleman on that last lap, so swings and roundabouts really with these guys at the moment. Over the line they go now. Cullinan does a 48.8, 48.6 for Dima. Of course, they did have that lock-up earlier on in the lap in his pursuit to get past Rafe Cullinan there. Doesn't make the best way through turn 1. And you can see how wide Lee Dima went on the exit of the first corner there. And that would have been an off-track straight away. Put it into some context. You get to run so far wide on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. Look at this traffic as well. This is not going to go well. That was the Automech number 14 Porsche of Roy Ververke, who sits in 20th place getting laps. And it's not often in the BSR series somewhere we have to see people getting lapped.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now Lee Dima is really under pressure from Jamie Ayres. So that's going to be, if Jamie can just deploy a little bit of energy here, if he's got a little bit extra energy coming down this back straight, he could maybe go for a move. But I think Lee's just tried to deploy a little bit of energy. In fact, he's closing up here, is Jamie, and look at that straight pass. That was just the extra energy he had in the back chase, and Jamie made that look easy.
Good thing you know more than me. I would have been yelling that he had a problem, but yeah, that is the energy recovery system in full effect there for those cars, and see how effective it is straight away as they now have to get their way through the traffic. Number 74 Scott Malcolm trying his best to steer clear of these LMP1 cars. Oh, and that is a disaster for the LMP1 car there of Lee Dima getting boxed in, and this is the worst corner as well to try and get by them. Looks like Dima's done it in the end, but Dima's now 3 seconds away from Jamie Ayres, and he was trying to get past Cullinan a lap ago. He's now 5 seconds behind him, so it's going to be very interesting to watch these LMP1 cars fight their way through the field, especially when we've got the reverse grid coming up later, where they're going to be starting behind all the GT3 and GTE cars. That almost sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That could be interesting, couldn't it? Yeah, Lee, that was a 1 minute 55, and if you consider he's been doing 1 minute 48 through this race, so he had an awful lap that time. And actually, yeah, Bart Delman's just lost a little bit of time. We saw the gap get up to about 5 seconds, but the traffic's just lost him a bit of time, and all of a sudden it's down to 2.5 seconds now, and Ralph Cullinan may just feel like he's got a chance at the race victory now.
Yeah, down to 1.8 in real time, but he runs wide, very, very wide, going through the exit, the hairpin at turn 11, and that's the gap now back up to 2.9 seconds. So it's ebbing and flowing here, but has Bart Delman got any traffic coming up? That is another question we have to focus on, because we've got Anthony Jacobson just a bit up the road, and then a battling Colin Robinson and Richard Warmingham here. They are absolutely decimating the field, these LMP1 cars, because these GT3 cars that are coming up to lap, they're currently sitting in about 10th and 11th place overall.
Yeah, the speed differential is insane. They're almost as fast as you know, F1 cars. It is as though you got, you know, some Porsches out on track and some F1 cars out on track. It's a really big pace differential, and it does add a very interesting factor to it, especially around here when it is so difficult to deal with traffic. But yeah, we could see later on maybe 5th place being lapped 3 or 4 times.
Carl Hardy's just had another spin just before the reverse turn 8 of Istanbul. Second spin today for Hardy, and he's only lost another position. David Ayres has gone through, car 666. So Hardy down to 40th place, 4th in the Ferrari GTEs. Richard Gafencu versus Brian Holmes. I said Brian Holmes was off with the win in the Porsches, but it looks like that Gafencu has done him. He has, and now we've got a three-way scrap for the lead here in the Porsches here as they come out of the final corner with 6 minutes to go. Gafencu leads them across, then it's Brian Holmes in second, who's picking up a really decent tow here off the slightly wounded rear end of Richard Gafencu, and in third position is Adam McNally. So Youth Energy, strength in numbers, Sam, and the two teammates here are trying to make sure that Brian Holmes doesn't get through.
Yeah, really terrific battle this, isn't it? And I think it's Roy
Ververke. I'll help you out.
Yeah, thanks. He's only 3 seconds behind as well, so they need to make sure that they don't fight too much, but Holmes really feisty there behind looking for any way to get past. But yeah, it's good battling between these Porsches, and Holmes now right on his toe. He's going to have a chance going into this hairpin if he wants it, but he's just going to stick behind, maybe set up that move for the end of the back straight, because he's right on his tail now.
Speeds these Porsches can get just to, while we go down this straight, as Sam was saying, the lap time differences here are quite amazing. 1 minute 50s the LMP1 cars are doing, 2 minute 5s, 2 minute 8s the other classes are doing. But here comes Brian Holmes up the inside then into turn 12 at the end of the straight. You can see a bit of front end damage to Gafenko as well. Gafenko giving him loads of space, and Brian Holmes, car 58 is through back into the lead of the Porsche class. 3 positions gained as well, and he now leaves the 2 Youth Energy cars to fight amongst themselves. Now he did take a lot of curb there. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets an off track or maybe a slow down penalty there, but it's fight for the lead in the Porsche class. Definitely on here, and 2 teammates now going wheel to wheel through the final few corners of the circuit here, and this is just going to allow Roy Verkerk to close in even more here as we now just have under 5 minutes to go in this opening. Oh, Dima versus Ayres again, Sam.
Oh, and yeah, Ayres right on. Very much keeping Dima honest here, and now it really comes down to how much battery power you've saved up through the race, because some of these drivers are going to be pretty low on energy, whereas others are still going to have a little bit to spare. So that's going to really be an important factor. Out in front, Bart Delman has kind of stopped Cullinan's charge a little bit, back up to 6 seconds now. So lost a little bit during the traffic, but has managed to reinstate that gap. And I think Ayres has just made a little bit of an error there. Yeah, just went off the track a little bit. The gap's back up to about 2 seconds now.
Max Wright has just got past Jim Flanagan, so second place has been restored for Max Wright here after that slight moment at the end of the back straight very early on in the race. He's quite a way behind Anwar Smith, who's the leader in the GT3s. He's 23 seconds behind him, in fact, so that is the great performance that Anwar Smith is putting in here. Now a fight between the Audi and Mercedes. We've seen it loads of times before in DTM. We're now seeing it here in the BSR IMSA series, and 3 minutes to go. Not too many more laps for these cars. These GT3s are about to start their penultimate lap here as they come across the line. The LMP1 cars have lapped every single car that isn't a Porsche 919. Shows you the speed difference here at Circuit of the Americas. Just forward to see what's going to happen in race 2. It could be very interesting to see indeed. Mick Barry's retired from the race. Don't know what's happened to him. Problem for David Ayres as well. Yeah, a spin in the final corner for David Ayres. Don't know how that happened, especially very early on in the corner. Maybe he got hit, or he just lost it on entry. Yeah, he did. Was that a locking of the rears, I think? Maybe the brake bias was a bit out of kilter, but yeah, the Ferrari of David Ayres around.
Yeah, odd to make that mistake there from Ayres. Just watching Robinson right now, right on the tail of Richard Warmingham, just less than half a second between them. He can't quite seem to make a move, and actually the Cullinan and Dima just closed back up again, back down to 2 seconds. I wonder if he's got a tiny chance of catching him, although this is the last lap, isn't it?
Well, I think they might get one more, just squeeze one more lap in, I think, when they get to the line. But how much in terms of time is that ERS worth over a lap, Sam? Because it looks like a lot. Yeah,
so the Porsche bats are really coming to a boil now. So they're side by side going into the S's and nearly going through. Why they're still side by side going through the... Oh dear, oh, no. Big contact, just got on the curb, and that's McNally out of that battle. That was really unfortunate. I think that was Holmes who went over the curb, and he's got a bit of damage. So it's now Gafenko in the lead, and Verkerk just behind them as well. So those two are going to fight for the race victory.
Yeah, nothing that could have been done there. Brian Holmes obviously didn't intend to hit that curb, and neither did he intend to collide with Adam McNally there, and that is a shame. Holmes has continued. He's in third and McNally in fourth, so at the end of the day, really, they haven't lost too much, and Brian Holmes is only just behind Roy Verkerk, so there is still time for him to get some of those positions. McNally, apart from the front right's broken, I think. So he's going to have to limp home and hope for a reverse grid. Colin Robinson into the pit lane very late on. Surely we're not speaking about fuel here in a 20-minute race. Well, the Ferrari GTE is in with a lap to go.
Yeah, and I think we just had a change for the lead in the Porsches again. I think, Verke just gone back through. I think that's going to be very close. They just gave him room there. And now Holmes is right on the tail of Gafencu. Gafencu just ran a little bit wide, I think, and that invited Roy up the inside. And Holmes still looking very feisty in third.
So the battle's going to go all the way to the end. Shades of the MX-5's battles in the Ritmatech Sports Car Series on a Monday night here. But yeah, this is the final lap of the race. They're going to cross the line now and get that white flag. Could be any three of those. And here comes the Porsche 919 of car 19, Bart Daleman, cross the line and just squeeze one more lap in, I think. Did. So this is going to be the final lap of the race. Up the inside goes the Porsche of Gafencu. Gafencu misses the apex by quite some margin, and Verke takes the lead back.
Yeah, terrific battling. He just braked himself, didn't he? And he's just going to go defensive now, I think. But Holmes couldn't quite mount an attack. He's still right on the tail right now as Gafencu, but he can't quite find a way past. Just needs to line himself up for one of the two hairpins, and he should be able to get the job done. Holmes is so close behind them, isn't he?
This is not going to go well, is it? Here come the LMP1s. They're going to come up on them now, maybe just at the right time. And here comes Jamie S as well. Oh my goodness me, how did they not touch there as they go into the left-hander hairpin here. Dima trying to hold on to his third place. Jamie S trying to use that energy to try and get that final spot on the podium on the final lap of the race. Finally negotiated that Porsche traffic, and now we'll see if any power can get deployed. Dima reaching nearly 260 kph here as we get on the brakes. And that really has split up that Porsche GT battle a bit, Sam, because now Verke's got a slight advantage.
Yeah, so McNally's had a bit of a crash. That's disappointing to see. But yeah, McNally just had a bit of an incident there. I think he's just got a bit of damage, so he lost it. But Cullinan still close behind, but I don't think he's going to quite make it unless he's got some secret energy. He's right on his tail now. Has he got anything left to deploy? I don't think he is, and I think it's going to be Lee Dima just to hold on.
We'll see as they go through the final few corners. Gafencu dropping down the order. Don't know why, but Brian Holmes also in the mix there as the Ferrari is also there too. But into the final corner. Going to be the opening race of the day for Bart Daleman. He crosses the line. Car 19 gets the win here in the opening race of the day. Second will just be Lee Dima. Look at Rafe Cullinan trying to find everything he could, but he couldn't. And over the line, Dima second, Cullinan third. Jamie Ayres will be safe in fourth position. Porsches have crossed the line, I think. Oh no, they haven't. They're coming into the final corner now. Who's going to win the class? It's going to be Gafencu that wins it. Second will be Brian Holmes. And then, have we lost Roy for Verke? He's coming. Oh no, he crossed the line ages ago. He won by quite some margin, I think, because there was a few Ferraris in the mix. So, Verke takes the Porsche win. But now we're waiting for Vlad Zańczykowski to come across the line. He's going to win the Ferrari GTEs. Yeah. Sorry, Sam. Sam the camera helpfully pointing out that I'm on the replay. But oh goodness me, yeah, Zańczykowski takes the win in the Ferrari. So.
Yeah, good job. We didn't really see much of Vlad, didn't we, out there? But he actually drove really well, and quite convincingly managed to get that first in GTEs over Anwar. But that in the end, I think it was Gafencu who got the Porsche win, just ahead of Holmes and McNally. So Verke managed to get the win, just ahead of Gafencu and Holmes. So really good battle between those Porsches, and a good battle between the LMP1s though. We saw that battery usage, how important that was, and I think that will provide some more good battles later on in the day.
I hope so. I'm really intrigued to see how this reverse grid's going to work. But yeah, we'll run you through the finishing order then for the opening race of the day. Bart Daleman wins. Second, so just have a look and see how many incident points he got. He got 6. There was one person who got 0, but he wasn't racing. That was Thorstein He was just watching over this session, really. Bart Delman wins. Second, Lee Diemer. Third for Rafe Cullinan. Fourth, for Jamie Ayres. Then Vlad Zajankovski, top Ferrari. And then sixth, top GT3. That is Anwar Smith. Max Wright second in the GT3s. Third, Jim Flanagan. Fourth, Luke Clark. Fifth, Richard Warmingham. And sixth, Anthony Jacobson. Then the second of the Ferrari GTEs is Carl Hardy. 11 positions gained. Biggest mover in the field, I believe. Then third Ferrari there in David Ayres. Then the 7th GT3 in Scott Malcolm. Then the race winner in the Porsches really capitalised when everyone else crashed. And that was Roy Verke. Colin Robinson came in for a late splash and dash and was right in the mix of that Porsche battle. Second for Gafenko in the Porsches. Third Brian Holmes and fourth Anna McNally. And then the cars were in issues. John Watson in 20th. Then Mick Barry, Adam Broughton, Grant Ashbeard as well. The Porsche LMP1 right in the mix at the beginning, and it didn't go well. And yeah, he finished in 23rd position. Right then, first reverse grid of the day, and just looking at the rule book, it says the wheel is numbered 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and we could have a full as well. And as there was only 23 cars here, I think it's either going to be 15, 20 or a full that's really going to help matters. So we'll bring in our cameraman Sam Kumo, the man that's been on the cameras through the night tonight, and see what number it's going to be as we spin the wheel. $15 is the spin today, and that is Roy Verke. So the winner of the Porsche class is going to start on pole position. Second will be Scott Malcolm. Third, David Ayres. Fourth, Carl Hardy. And fifth, Anthony Jacobson. However, Sam Fitzpatrick, while the reverse grid may be interesting for this series, it's almost a certainty that these cars aren't going to win overalls, because the Porsche LMP1s they'll be coming.
Yeah, that's going to be chaotic, I think, on the first lap, with the LMP1s desperately trying to get past. They're going to be starting, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, I think. So that's going to be, yeah, that could be carnage potentially. And even the Porsches as well, the GTEs and the GT3s are going to be keen to get past Verke straight away. So it should be a very interesting start for Heat 2.
Drivers won't know what to expect. We don't know what to expect, so we'll wait and see what's going to happen here as we take a quick break here on Apex Racing TV. Good first race. The second race, another 20 minutes, is coming up here in the BSR IMSA Sports Car Series.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas here on Apex Racing TV. Second race of the day in the British Sim Racer Simpson Sports Car Series here at Circuit of the Americas. And yeah, reverse grid in prospect here. 15 cars reversed for the second race of the day. 12 laps. We managed. That's pretty much timed at 20 minutes. So we'll be ready for that one. And in the commentary box again, alongside me, Adam Mefford, Sam Fitzpatrick, and Sam. We realised during the outbreak that we've got our new overlay in Force today, and it looks pretty good already.
Yeah, I've seen a few videos of it. I think in the Road to Pro series of it kind of being tested, and it does look superb, I must say. Yeah, really good how they kind of very much got the aspect from the F1 overlays, and yeah, looks terrific, I'd say. So yeah, really pleased. I think this is one of the first races we've actually used it. So yeah, really pleased to be running it today.
If we get to see more of it, we'll hopefully get it up and running for the BSR Pro Series, which starts on Thursday, of course. Once again, one of the biggest leagues on iRacing is back, and straight after the World Championship Grand Prix Series last weekend, all the big series are back up and running. Right, down to the grid then for the second race of the day. Running through the grid for this one, and as we were saying, 12-lap race. Starting on the pole position then is Roy Ververke in the Porsche, then second Scott Malcolm, third is David Ayres, then fourth Carl Hardy, fifth Anthony Jacobson, then Richard Warmingham, Jim Flanagan, Max Wright, then Anwar Smith, Vlad Tchaikovsky in 10th, Rafe Cullinan starting in 11th, 12th Lee Deemer, 13th for Bart Delman, 14th Colin Robinson, 15th for Richard Gafenku, then Brian Holmes 16th, Adam McNally 17th, John Watson in 18th, Mick Barry 19th, 20th is Adam Brawson Grant. We've lost Ash Beard, it looks like, but Kimberly Rogers has joined right at the back of the field. So that is the grid, and we will get the safety car moving in a moment, and we'll be able to get the formation lap underway here. Half a formation lap around this 5.52 kilometre circuit, and we're ready to get the second race underway. So the LMP1, Sam, are starting in about 12:13. Trying to find Jamie Ayres on here, you know. I can't see him, so
No, I can't see him either.
So we are down to 3 Porsche LMP1 cars. They're Bart Delman, Lee Deemer, and Rafe Cullinan. So they'll be starting in 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing to lose a driver, but it's going to be so difficult for those LMP1s to get through. Like the S's normally to pass traffic are going to be difficult, but now they've got to pass, 10 or 11 drivers, so that's going to be really difficult, and they've got to try to manage it well. We saw in the first race, and one LMP1 started from the back, and it caused a bit of chaos. So with 3 starting right in the middle of the pack, it's going to be even more chaotic, I think.
Well, hold on, viewers. This could be pretty interesting. 12 laps, and we'll have a slightly longer race 3, I believe, and another reverse grid as well. So we saw how quick the LMP1 cars were in race 1. They lapped pretty much the entire field. They did, actually. So shows you how quick they were. Going into the final few corners then, and we'll see how Roy Ververke's Porsche shapes up against the GT3 of Scott Malcolm. Automech, the Scottish team, against the Scottish driver in Scott Malcolm. Safety car comes into the pit lane then. It is a Porsche, then a GT3, and then the second row made up entirely of Ferrari GTEs. It looks like the Merc is waiting for a run-up, or something like that, because Ververke's on his own, and we've still got no green flag. There it is. The second race of the day here at Circuit of the Americas is underway. Hold on, folks. Whereabouts is Rafe Cullen and everybody else? You can already see trying to make things happen here as they go up the hill. 3 wide in some places. As we get on the brakes, and that's a disaster.
Dear. Oh, that's 8 or 9 cars, I think, involved in that. Oh, that's just not what we want to see, and that wasn't even an LMP1 either. I think you just got a little bit late on the brakes. I'm not sure who it was, actually.
Oh, it was a Team Mad car steaming up the inside. Car 89, Jim Flanagan. Flanagan.
Oh, we got more contact. An LMP1 just back there just made contact and I think that was Lee Deemer who just made contact there, and he spun a couple more cars involved in incidents now.
Well, what a disaster this has been. I've never seen anything like it. It was like falling dominoes going into that first corner. Everybody just flying into it. Well, Carl Hardy leads the race. He started 4th. He leads. 2nd is Bart Delman. The LMP1 car's going to get the lead already. That took half a lap, and it's probably one of the few LMP1 cars surviving after that. In fact, Rafe Cullinan's managed to survive as well. He's just coming up the inside of Verke, but what a crazy opening lap. I guess we were expecting it, but I think we were expecting that many cars to be involved. Cars that went back to the pits. We've only lost one actually, and that is Scott Malcolm. So only one car out after all that, but a lot of cars will have damage, and I'm pretty sure we'll have a few cars coming into the pits as well at the end of the opening lap.
Yeah, and they were the front runners as well. I think that was I think the incident took place between P3 and P4, and then probably the next 8 cars behind them all got involved. So not what we wanted to see, and there was just lots of different incidents out there, wasn't there? Just looking at I think that's Anwar just making his way up through the pack. He started, so you got P2 in the last race, and Vlad Zayn didn't get a brilliant start actually, and he's into the pits. So a winner of race 1 straight into the pits. I don't know what happened to him. He's not got too much damage, but yeah, issue for Vlad, and that's not the second race he wanted whatsoever.
I'm sure it was one of the many cars that just pummeled into the first corner mess. But yeah, he did win the Ferrari class, sort of. I don't think we have classes going here. I think we do actually, but yeah, he was the fastest Ferrari. Gets a fast repair, I believe. Yes, he does. Gets a new Ferrari, and he's on his way. So that is another rule of the BSR IMSA series. If you do get involved in a crash, you get back to the pits and you get a new car. So just the one, and then he gets on his way again. But yeah, Bart Delman leads, 2nd Rafe Cullinan, so it's 1 and 2 for LMP1 cars after half a lap. Then after 1.5 laps, then it's Carl Hardy in 3rd, 4th Richard Warmingham, then Anwar Smith versus Max Wright. I think that's Smith getting past Wright, yes it is, as they go onto the back straight. And now Max Wright, the Audi, is trying to chase down the Merc here. As just behind them we have Jim Flanagan, who may get looked at the incident in the first corner, may have to go to the steward. So wait and see on that one, but chasing down the Scotsman Max Wright here in the opening few laps has got a pretty close pack now between these GT3 cars. Plus we've got that GTE car as well, Sam, in Colin Robinson.
Yeah, we saw the GT3s earlier on were all very evenly matched, and yeah, should be a good battle between these lot, with the faster drivers kind of making their way through the pack, and Anwar Smith now right on the tail of Richard Warmingham, looking for any way past, just having a little bit of a peak, but I think he'll probably just set it up for turn 1 unless he gets a really good run going into this fast corner. But yeah, it's just going to line it up for turn 1, I think.
Trying to find a clean GT3 car in the field, I think, because many of them were involved in that mess at the start. But here comes Anwar Smith then, looking to the inside, and he's going for the inside as we go on the brakes. Car 88 sliding about on the braking there, and that was perfect times. Fantastic move there by Anwar Smith to move himself back into the lead of the GT3 class. Merc timing that move to perfection into the first corner, Sam.
Yeah, just textbook move there. He didn't put up, Warmingham didn't put up much of a fight there. Realises that I think Anwar is one of the fastest GT3s out here, so just let him have it and focus on perhaps getting a top 3. Carl Hardy, that's a GTE, isn't it? So Carl, yes, it is. Leading the GTEs, and yeah, Anwar already into first in the GT3s. Consider he started the penultimate position in the GT3s, and after just a couple of laps he's already into the lead.
Yeah, our leaders then. Bart Delman leads the LMP1, Carl Hardy leads the GTEs, Anwar Smith leads the GT3s, and Roy Verke still leads the Porsche class. Second in that is Brian Holmes, but the gap between Verke and Holmes is 6 seconds, so already a bit of a gap between those guys. Brian Holmes and Gafencu separated by quite a bit, In fact, the Porsche numbers have gone down a little bit as well. We're down to 4 as Max Wright and Richard Warmingham have a good battle here, and the Ferrari remaining present here in Colin Robinson. He fancies to get involved here, so Porsche numbers a little bit down, but these GT3 and GTE cars continue to fight, and right now currently sits in second position in class.
Yeah, often quite difficult for the GTEs to make move on the GT3s because, like I said earlier, GTEs don't have ABS, so under braking the GT3s can actually brake a little bit later, which can really cause havoc. So these they've really got to make sure that they make the move cleanly, and Colin Robinson just going for the move now, I think going into turn 1 on Richard Warmingham, and he should be able to make this one quite comfortably this time, leaving quite a lot of space, and Warmingham's going to hang around the outside again. We're going to have the better run down into turn 2, and yeah, once again Colin Robinson's just going to have to slot in behind unless he's very feisty going into the S's, but not quite.
Typical cat and mouse fight this. The Ferrari really quick at the end of the straights, but then it's the power that gets put down by these GT3 cars that really hinders the Ferrari GTE car there, and that is what's keeping Richard Warmingham ahead of Colin Robinson here. And this fight continues in the GT3 class. This is a battle inside the top 10 as well. Lee Diemer versus Brian Holmes. These are this is one of the Porsche LMP1 that has pitted and got a new car, trying to get by its sister cars, the GT cars. Diemer's done that. Honda actually, but Sam with 8 laps to go, if it's feasible for Lee Diemer to possibly get up to 3rd position overall, because he's lapping, obviously the LMP1 car will be lapping so much quicker than the cars in front.
Yeah, I think he'll do it easily, to be honest. He got such a advantage. He's not a lap down on the leader, is he? So yeah, he's going to comfortably get into P3, I think, by the end of this race, because he's about 12 seconds a lap faster. Yeah.
Yeah, he's only 50 seconds away from sorry, he's 25 seconds away from Carl Hardy in 3rd. So that will be easy, I think, for him. Spin up ahead, I think. Let's have a look. I think it may have been Mick Barry. I think I did see a bit of red. Oh no, it wasn't a spin. I thought it was just someone having one. But yeah, Mick Barry just a bit further up the road. Adam Broughton Grant sat in 10th place, 10 positions gained as well, biggest mover. Looks like the Audi was one of those cars, like the Carl Hardy car in race 1, that was able to avoid everything in that first corner, and has now been rewarded with a spot inside the top 10.
Mick Barry, I know you said that he'd had a spin, actually had a spin right after you called it, so I think you were foreseeing something there. And yeah, Mick Barry just had a spin on the penultimate corner.
Yeah, apologies, Mick. Curse of the commentator strikes for the first time tonight, I think. Yeah, David Ayres.
Warmingham's had a bit of an incident there.
Oh dear.
David Ayres going for the move it wasn't really there, was it? He tried to force his way through, and Warmingham he was up in 2nd place at one point. I think he's fallen to the back of the field now, so I think he's got to tow back to the pits.
Tow back to the pits now. Was running in 8th place. Don't know if you can say that is getting GTE'd. I don't know if that is a term in iRacing. I know some of the other classes there was stuff like that, but yeah, shame for Richard Warmingham and David Ayres maybe getting a visit to the stewards. But Lee Diemer, his progress continues. We looked at him about a lap ago. He was fighting with Gafenko Verke. Well, I say fighting, he was making his way past them. A lap later, he's now up to 8th position. He's just got past David Ayres, so he's on his way. Carl Hardy had an issue, Sam, because Anwar Smith is just overtaking him. So the Mercedes now is in 3rd position overall.
Yeah, shows how fast Anwar is, doesn't it? And Carl Hardy doesn't have too much damage on that car, but yeah, just missing a couple of apexes, and he's still going to win this GTE field. So he just needs to make sure he gets it to the end. But yeah, Anwar driving really well. He's now over 6 seconds clear of Max Wright. He's the 2nd place GT3. So yeah, driving really well. Diemer
up to 5th now. He's just got past Max Wright in the 2nd place GTE car Colin Robinson, who's got a bit of damage. Looking up the inside of right there, going into the first corner, but no way through. Good consistent drive by both of these cars so far. Wright in the Audi and Robinson in the Ferrari. This is where we saw Warmingham get hit earlier on. Hopefully none of the same with these two. Oh, Wright hits the curb, sideways, and what did I say? Curse of the commentator, what have I done? And both of them collide, Sam.
Yeah, you're not having a good day, I guess, are you? Max, so yeah, just got on the curb, and yeah, that was unfortunate. I think, for Colin Robinson, wasn't it? He got impacted there. And I think Colin's still going around there, so he doesn't have too much damage. He can still get second in the GTE, so that will be what he's focusing on.
Max Wright's car's destroyed. It's in the pit lane. He'll have to wait for a tow, and then he'll get his new car and he'll be on his way. He may be in with a shout of the reverse grid for race 3 if we get a full. But what a disaster that was. Didn't see that coming. Rafe Cullinan, new fastest lap of the race. Not a new fastest lap of the race, a new personal best of the race. It's 6 seconds slower than Bart Daleman, and he's 33 seconds behind him, so no lead battle for this one, I don't think. No surprises really, because Bart Daleman was in the lead by the time we completed half a lap. Cullinan was just a bit behind him, so that is the state of play in the very front. Lee Deemer has spin in the back. That's Brian Holmes. Brian Holmes, who was running in 18th position. The blue and white Michelin car is spun on the exit, the hairpin. Looks like he just put 2 wheels onto the Astro and has a little bit of a spin.
Yeah, disappointing there for Holmes. The first race didn't exactly go his way either, did it? He was looking strong in that one. Yeah, just got a little bit on the AstroTurf, like you said, and spun the car around. I think is he trying to get past Adam McNally now? Yeah, he is, just trying to get past Adam, and that should be a battle to watch, I think, to the end of the race, because I think Brian's got a little bit more pace than him.
Yeah, and Adam McNally had a spin on the opening lap of the race in this very part of the circuit here. Did get going again, but he was quite a way behind everybody else. Just trying to keep it going to the end and make it a reverse grid pole. Jim Flanagan versus Colin Robinson. Now this is Colin Robinson spun. That is in the S's again. And did he do it on his own?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Just caught the end of that, and yeah, just spun it on his own. Yeah, got a bit of the curb, didn't he? And once you do that, you lost all control of the car.
Shame for him, because he was running pretty well there. He is now down to 3rd position in the Ferrari GTEs. That's 9th place overall. The state of play in terms of the laps. Bart Daleman is currently is lapped up to 12th position, Kimberly Rogers. Quite a few positions gained. If you can keep your car on the island, you are in for a pretty good race, I think, judging from how things have gone so far in this second race of the day. Bart Daleman just lapping the aforementioned Kimberly Rogers there, and also the Ferrari GTE of Mick Barry. So our race leader now up to 10th in terms of lapping everyone, and we are 2/3 of the way through the race, lap 8 of 12 here. Yeah,
just trying to find some close battle, just trying to find some close battles between drivers, and Kimberly Rogers just on the tail of Mick Bay, who you just mentioned, about a second between them, and I think Bay's got a little bit more pace, but yeah, Kimberly just keeping him honest right now.
Yeah, closest battle we've got on track really at the moment. Just behind them is Vlad Sanchikovsky, our winner from race 1 in the Ferrari GTEs. Little lock up in front by barrier contacts, and that is another crash here at Circuit of the Americas. Destroyed front end on Kimberly Rogers' Merc, and she's going to have to come into the pit lane. Don't know what happened there. Was that Rogers misjudging the braking point, or was that Mick Barry a mistake from Barry?
Barry just spun it on by himself. Oh yeah, he just went offline, I think, and that's a weird corner, because the elevation's slightly it's slightly odd going into that corner. It's easy to lose the rear end, and yeah, just nowhere to go for Kimberly in the end. But that's allowed Vlad to get past, hasn't it? So Vlad, who had that issue on the first lap, had to pit on the first lap to get the fast repair back up into 11th place. So good. Oh no, he's now, yeah, he just has a spin as well. So yeah, everything's going on.
Yeah, Vlad, yeah, don't know what happened there in the S's. He was just slow for a brief moment, then got going again. I think Carl Hardy had a issue on this lap because Jim Flanagan is now past him, and it has meant that we now have a GTE battle on our hands here. Carl Hardy is now only a few tenths of a second ahead of David Ayres, two Ferrari GTEs there, fighting for the honours with 4 laps to go, 9 of 12, 3/4 distance. And yeah, Hardy in 5th. 6th is now David Ayres, car 666, so you couldn't have got him in a... Sorry, 7th is David Ayres, so he'll be fighting there as we come around to start lap 10. Bart Delman's actually just coming up to lap these cars now. Quite a few cars in front of our race leader, so he's going to have to negotiate these cars pretty well, but it looks like he's coming up to them on the front straight, so he probably will be able to batch with all of these guys by the time he gets to the first corner.
Yeah, I'll just deploy a bit of the ERS just to give him a bit of extra horsepower to make the moves clean. In fact, he's just going to hang back. He's got such a big gap. He's got 37 seconds to P2. He can, just be super patient. No point in ruining this battle. And yeah, Bart just gets the first one. Don't think he's going to quite get the second one, but he'll probably just slot in behind. And Carl Hardy, of course, will be hoping that he doesn't get a small tap round, and yeah, that's a good move by Bart in the end, around the outside. But David Ayres right on, yeah, really close now to Carl, less than a second between them.
I don't know if you can flash the lights in those LMP1 cars, but they are like that is the light of the world that's coming towards you. Massive bright spotlights. Battle for the lead in the Porsches, I think. Roy Verke versus... Richard Gafencu versus Roy Verke. Oh, and they tangle. And that's Gafencu's suspension broken. Oh, what a shame. That is a disaster for Richard Gafencu. And he's still got 3 laps to go to try and get it home. It was the slightest of touches, but it was enough to end Gafencu's race then.
Yeah, I've seen lots of Porsches with issues, and he's just going to have to take back to the pits, I think. Although he's going to try to make it round, but it's going to be difficult for him to do so. And yeah, he's still going through the S's right now, and just needs to make sure he doesn't get in the way of anyone. Nearly a bit of an impact there. And I think he's just going to take it back to the pits if he possibly can.
Colin Robinson's come out of nowhere. He's now past Carl Hardy. David Ayres now leads the class, so I don't know what's happened here that's changed the Ferrari GTE battle on its head. It was a move up the inside at the end of the back straight by David Ayres to get the lead, and then Colin Robinson, who had a spin earlier on, is now up into second place. So complete change of order here in the Ferrari class with just a few laps to go, and now Colin Robinson fancy chances of getting the win here as we're on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, he needs to. He could go for the inside going into turn 1, not quite. He's just going to stay behind, but he just needs to line it up for the back straight. A little bit of a slow exit there from David, but it's not going to quite open up the opportunity for Carl Hardy, still right on the back of these two. Colin on that last lap was 2 seconds faster than David, so he's clearly got the pace to win the race, but he's got to make the move stick. It's not just got to stay close to this part and just nail him when one of the hairpins.
See damage up to the front of Colin Robinson's blue and white Ferrari. That's our leader. He's way up the road. He's no trouble for him in lapping this battle. But now going into the left hand onto the back straights, much better apex there from Colin Robinson. We'll see if he can get the slipstream down the back straight here. He's a little bit behind here as we get going. See what speeds these cars can get as well. David Ayres 240 kilometers an hour here. 250 just before we get on the brakes. Now we get on the brakes, and Robinson braking later as well, going to turn 12. This is where he was able to get some of the moves done earlier on. See if he can use it to his advantage here. Get to line. This will be the final lap of the race as well, so not too long to decide this battle now. Little lock up as well from Robinson.
Yeah, he's pushing super hard. Got one more lap to go. Bart Delman just starting his last lap. No, sorry, he's got 2 more laps to go. So 2 laps to get the move done with Colin. But yeah, needs to be quick about it. Hasn't an opportunity hasn't quite opened up yet. And is he coming into the pits?
That's the second race running, you know. Second race running. Colin. Oh, and he hits the pit ball on the way into the pit lane. Yeah, Colin Robinson in with a lap to go. Second race running as well, and just must be another splash and dash of fuel, I reckon. Or maybe he's playing the strategic game. Maybe he wants the pole position for race 3. Either way, he's definitely not going to win this. Credit to Richard Gothenko, by the way, just behind Colin Robinson in the pit lane. It looks like he's been able to do the entire lap and get back to the pits with a completely destroyed rear suspension. So Gothenko making it back home, but definitely not going to be winning this one. And I think he might end up being 2 laps down, so maybe out with a shout of the reverse grid. But shame for Robinson. It does mean now that David Ayres has almost certainly got the Ferrari GTE win.
Yeah, but it's been so up and down in this race, I wouldn't count on it quite yet. He's got a 3-second lead over Carl Hardy. Vlad Zajankowski up to 9th place now overall, so he's got a really good recovery drive. He is 3rd place in the GTE, so yeah, he's done a good job after coming into the pits in that first lap. But yeah, Davis just got to make sure he gets around. Lee Diemer at one point was, I think he was about 50 seconds behind Ralph Cullinan at one point, and now the gap's down to about 7 seconds, so he's really closed in well. And he's got 1.5 laps to do it.
Oh, it's finished.
Oh, has it finished? Oh, yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, checkered flag is out. Bart Delman wins. Second is going to be Rafe Cullinan once he gets there. So far behind, it's now 50 seconds a gap. Yeah, time races and laps races, it's BSR IMSA series. And yeah, Rafe Cullinan going to get second. Let's see if anybody else is crossed the line. Roy Verke is still our leader in the Porsche class. He's just going down the back straight, but Anwar Smith is going to come through and has taken the victory in the GT3. Second will be Jim Flanagan. David Ayres now comes across the line and wins the Ferrari GTE class. Carl Hardy did push him all the way and was leading for a while. Colin Robinson back out on track. He will get the 4th place Ferrari, because Vlad Zajankowski, who pitted at the start of the race to get a new car, is going to come through and take the final podium spot in the Ferrari GTE class. I think in this race, you pretty much had to look at a car and something would happen to them, or something would have happened to them, as Vlad comes across the line to take 9th, 3rd in class. Anwar Smith rounding out the overall top 10 in his Audi.
Yeah, good recovery from Vlad. He got P7 in the end. Well, what happened to Jim Flanagan at the end there?
Finished in 5th, I think, Jim Flanagan.
Oh, yeah, so my timing system just, yeah, went a bit off there. But yeah, Jim coming home in 5th. And, yeah, good drive from Anwar, just to beating all the GTEs and coming home in 4th overall in the GT3. That's super impressive from him, so just a shout out to him.
Yeah, we see how quick the GTEs are. Yeah, great job by Anwar Smith. Adam McNally, the last car, 1 lap down, so we do get a full. It will be him on the pole. Unfortunately for Wright and Gothenko, they were both 2 laps down in the end, so no chance for them as McNally does a few of the donuts. And maybe those donuts might be because he's about to be on pole. We'll find out soon. We're already through the finishing order then from race 2. Bart Delman, 2 wins in 2 then, already for the Porsche 919 and the LMP ones. Second for Rafe Cullinan and 3rd for Lee Diemer, the only 3 cars on the lead lap. And a lap down in 4th, the winner of the GT3s, Anwar Smith, then Jim Flanagan. David Ayres, the winner of the Ferrari GTEs, finished in 6th. You couldn't have got it any better. Car 666 in 6th place. Then 7th, Carl Hardy, 2nd place as well in the Ferraris. And Anthony Jacobson in 3rd in GT3s. Then Vlad Zajankowski completing the podium for the Ferrari. Then Adam Broughton Grant in 4th for the GT3s. Colin Robinson in 4th for the GTEs. Mick Barry in 5th in the Ferraris. Then Scott Malcolm. Roy Verke once again wins the Porsche class. Kimberly Rogers in 15th place overall. Adam McNally, the last car, 1 lap down, in 16th. Then Max Wright collided with Adam McNally, and they both finished 16th and 17th. Richard Kafenko, it was very unfortunate. Roy Verke just gave the right rear the slightest touch, and the suspension collapsed like that. And it meant that he finished 3 laps down in the end. Then Brian Holmes, 5 laps down. He had a few spins. Then Richard Warmingham, 7 laps down, and John Watson, 12 laps down. Didn't take, pretty much was gone from the get-go, really. May have been involved in that first corner scrap. Right then, Kubo, for the final time tonight, we've got the reverse grid to do, and going to see who's going to get that pole position for the final race of the day for the slightly longer 35-minute race. Full -1. Now let me get the rule book out. See what that means. Full -1 to prevent drivers hanging back for a full reverse grid spin. So unfortunately for Adam McNally, that means that it's going to be Kimberly Rogers starting on the pole. At least that's what I think it means anyway. So that is what the grid is going to be. Kimberly Rogers on the pole, Verke second, Scott Malcolm third, Mick Barry fourth, Colin Robinson in fifth. And once again, the LMP1 cars are going to have to fight their way through the field. It was a chaotic start in race 2. They're going to be in race 3. We'll be back in a moment for the slightly longer third race of the day here in the BSR IMSA Series.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and welcome back to the BSR IMSA series, getting set for the final race of the day. Just a quick note that we got it wrong. We thought that there was a reverse grid for this final race, but there isn't. So it's going to be the finishing order from race 2, and it is just going to be a 35-minute timed race rather than us trying to work out laps. So it makes it a bit easier for everybody else. Back in the commentary box again for the final race of the day is me, Alan Baff, alongside is Sam Fitzpatrick, and so we're just getting the formation lap underway now. And yeah, 35 minutes, and at least we won't have any of the craziness from race 2. However, saying that, it looks like we have got no. Oh no, we do have LMP ones. They're just so small that I couldn't see them. Yeah, the LMP ones are going to be starting right in the midfield again, so maybe we have had a reverse grid.
Yeah, maybe it's that's an odd one. Maybe it's the same grid as Heat 2. Maybe not quite sure, but
no, yeah.
But yeah, if they're starting in the middle of the field, then it's going to be a very interesting start once again, as we saw last time. And this place isn't easy to start at either normally, so yeah, should be interesting.
Not too long to go till we get going then. We're running through the grid. Starting on the pole is Anwar Smith, then second Richard Gafenku, then Richard Warmingham in third, Alan McNally fourth, Robinson fifth, then Dima, Delman, Ververke, Alan Broughton Grant in ninth and Max Wright in 10th. Then we've got Luke Clark, Rafe Cullinan, Jim Flanagan, Kimberly Rogers, Vladzine Tchaikovsky, Anthony Jacobson, and Scott Malcolm, John Watson, Carl Hardy and David Ayres. That smells of a random grid for me for this final race. Crazy race this could be then. Once again, the LMP1 starting in the midfield. We've got a GT3 and a Porsche starting at the front. Safety car comes in the pit lane now. 35-minute race. Coming up to 9:45 in the evening here. Done just after 10:15. Here we go then. Anwar Smith's wasting no time. Green flag in here. Final race of the day's underway. Here come the Porsches then, and it looks like they've managed to dispatch of everyone by the time we get to the top of the hill. Meanwhile, everybody else trying to find their own bit of track and amazingly, it looks like we've got through the first corner without any incidents. So.
Yeah, seems to be okay at the moment, doesn't it? LMP1 still just trying to make their way through the field.
Spoke too soon. Roy Verke and Carl Hardy collide. That was Verke getting on that. Oh dear, getting on that curb, and we've seen it tonight. Not much he can do about it, and he just flies into the side of Carl Hardy. A lot of damage to that Porsche of Verke, who finished first and second in the Porsche class today.
Yeah, he's had a great day so far, and yeah, just got on that curb like you said, and Carl Hardy went on his roof. He seems to be okay though, so yeah, he seems to be able to race on, which is good to see. Just watching Ralph Cullinan just making his way through the field. I think he's into the top 5 now overall.
Not so long till the first lap's going to be completed then, and Bart Delman away with this one yet again. Side in the midfield, and he's already got a healthy advantage over Lee Deemer at 1.9 seconds already as they come out to complete the opening lap of the race. 35 minutes, so going to be a bit more than the 12 laps that we saw in race 2. Richard Kafenko, who started second on the grid, fighting in and amongst the GT3s. In front of him, he's got John Watson. You can see John actually getting the race started without any incident, and then Max Wright just in front, who's got Anthony Jacobson and Adam Broughton Grant for company as well. Nice battle as well between Jim Flanagan and Adam McNally. That's Flanagan getting a move done on McNally here, going through the final corner. And now we're going to see the pace of the Ferrari GTE, I think, Sam, here with Vlad Zajakovsky.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 wide going down into turn 1. The Porsche is so quick down the straights, it's just going to let them go. Oh, a little bit of a slide there, and in the end, Vlad managed to get through the pair of them straight through the middle. In fact, Alan McNally's managed to stay ahead of Jim Flanagan, and Flanagan's going to go down the inside. He knows he has to make the move. It's going to be problematic. Oh, over the curve there for McNally. Just about going to hold on to the car there. We've seen how disastrous hits in that curve can turn out to be, but he hung on well.
Very close there to disaster, and McNally doing his best, but Kimberly Rogers in that fluorescent Mercedes has got quite a few people queuing up behind her now. We got Adam Broughton Grant and Anthony Jacobson, the A-team on their way, and of course Jacobson is in one of the in a Merc up the inside. That is a late move, and car 90, Anthony Jacobson past the Audi of Max Wright and into 12th place, 6th place in class. A good start from Anthony as well, because he's gained 4 positions. Robinson versus up the inside of Luke Clark going into the hairpin. Not seen a tight apex like that today, and the blue and white car with the ASUS sponsorship is through into 8th place. Sorry, 5th place. The 5th place overall. The Lee Ferrari.
Yeah, good move there from Client Anwar, still out in front. I don't know how he does it, but he just seems to always navigate his way through the traffic. And Colin Robinson just behind him now. A little bit of a change of position. I think Kimberly may have just lost a place to Jim. Kimberly managed to get back past Adam McNally, who's falling down the field just down the inside. It's the Audi now of Max Wright, and Adam's lost I think about 5 positions on this lap. Just the GT3s all trying to make their way through.
Race forward then on lap 3. Bart Delman leads, second Lee Deemer, third Rafe Cullinan. That is the state of play there. Adam Broughton Grant versus Adam McNally. In going through the first corner. This is another Porsche versus Audi battle going on here. Saw that in LMP1, we're seeing it here in GT3s. And here comes the Merc flying up the inside. That is John Watson out of nowhere. Car 44. Of course, car 44 will be back in action this weekend when the Australian Grand Prix is up and running. And what a move by John Watson there, catching McNally unawares. And again, the Porsche, is it the slowest car of the 3 classes, Sam?
Yeah, through the corners it's a lot slower, but it can often be a bit problematic because once they get to about 250 kbh, the Porsche actually is a little bit faster. And did you just see something there?
Yeah, John Watson. Oh, oh, I'm sure he'll be laughing as much as I am there. Going through the final part of the S's, he goes out onto the runoff area. The runoff area ends, and then he gets onto the grass, and the car just skids into the wall.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at this back, and yeah, he'll be kicking himself for that. That's 3 retirements, isn't it now, for John? So awful first round for him. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But yeah, just probably didn't quite know the circuit was a bit like that, and that grass can be ever so slippery.
Yeah, not seen grass as slippery as that since Virginia International Raceway, but hopefully John Watson isn't too disheartened by that, and he'll be back for the next race, which is at Alton Park next week. That's going to be interesting. I believe the hours go back that weekend as well, so make sure you set your clocks. It'll still be 8 p.m, but I think it'll be 8 p.m. BST rather than 8 p.m. GMT. And I tell you what, from the weather that we've had this weekend, no way you'll be ready for spring yet. Standing on a terrace at a football ground at -1 degrees in the middle of March, didn't see that coming yesterday. But yeah, less about that. Lap 4, the action on track is pretty warm here. Track temperature 20 degrees Celsius. It's 18 degrees outside in Austin, Texas. And Bart Delman isn't escaping at the same rate of knots as he was in race 2, Sam. The gap's only 3 seconds, so Dima still has a chance to come back into this if Delman starts to have issues negotiating the traffic, which he hasn't had yet today.
Yeah, Dima I think is a little bit quicker on this lap. We'll compare the lap time. So 47.7 from Delman, and it is a 47.9 from Dima. So very similar pace, a couple of tenths for Delman. We did see in the first race Delman struggle a little bit with the traffic. And in that second race he was just very cautious because he didn't need to be particularly aggressive. But the traffic's going to be really important. If you get stuck behind the S's, that's potentially 3 or 4 seconds gone in these cars because they are so much faster. So Dima's just got to keep the pressure on, hope that the lap cars fall into his fall to his favour.
Anthony Jacobson's just got past Kimberly Rogers. That's Jacobson now into 10th place overall, 5th placing, and Rogers now down to 11th place overall. That is 6th place. Just behind them, Max Wright versus Adam Broughton Grant. 2 Audis scrapping away here. The green Audi there of Max Wright, or mostly green anyway, and then the black and red of Adam Broughton Grant, fighting over 12th and 13th, 7th and 8th in class. Both drivers have lost positions since the start of the race. Looks like this track has definitely favoured the Mercs rather than the Audis. Has anything in terms of balance and performance been addressed in this latest build, Sam?
Well, I think the balance performance is a lot better now. The Merc previously was very OP, whereas now the Audi, apparently, I think the Audi might be the quickest now, but I think they're all very similar. I think it's the Audi and the Merc still out in front, and they are the 2 GT3s we've got in this series, so that's convenient, and so it should be relatively even, I think. Not sure who's going to benefit around here, but we've you're right, the Mercs seem to have had a bit of an advantage today.
On the BMW?
Not sure actually. I think it's competitive, but I don't think it's quite the same pace still.
Not surprised. I'm always sticking up for the BMW, but yeah, it looks like it's Days is a competitive car, maybe numbered a little bit. Adam McNally versus Victor Kafenko. This is right at the tail end of the field. These are the 2 Porsche teammates fighting it out. This is over 1st and 2nd in class as well, because Roy Verke is out. He's just towed back to the pits literally about a few seconds ago, so I don't know what's happened to Roy. I know he picked up a lot of damage earlier. I think actually he's just he may have just called it a day, I think, but we'll wait and see. Yeah, he's coming to the pits and joins John Watson on the sidelines.
Yeah, disappointing to see. He was having such a good race weekend, race day today, but yeah, McNally right on the tail of his teammate. I assume they're going to be free to attack now each other because they're the only two left, I think. Yeah, Roy's out, so I think these are the only two Porsches left, Gafencu and McNally. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a good battle from these two.
Again, the clock got 24 minutes to go, so we are just over 10 minutes into this one. And Anwar Smith, as you're saying, leads the way in the GT3 category. Once again, proving that he's quicker than both of the Ferrari GTEs. We've got 4 of them in the field. They are spread apart, really. We've got 1 and 2, Robinson and John Tchaikovsky, 5th and 6th overall. And we've got David Ayres and Carl Hardy, both down in 14th, 15th place overall. So they're really bookending the field.
Going for the lead, so yeah, going for the lead past Gafencu, and he's made it. So really good move there from McNally, but I think Gafencu's going to try to get back. No, he's just have to slot in behind. But yeah, McNally just got the slipstream going to turn 1 and made a textbook move into that wide turn 1.
Tell the difference between the two Youth Energy cars by the uprights. McNally with the bright blue, Gafencu with the purple, and McNally runs very wide. This is going to be interesting because here comes one of the LMP1s. That is Rafe Cullinan trying to find his way through. Oh, this hasn't gone at all well, has it? Everyone's slowing down, trying to go after you, and Cullinan finally finds his way through, but he has lost a lot of time there as Jim Flanagan and Luke Clark fight with each other. This is wheel-to-wheel stuff here. Car 5 versus car 89. This is over 2nd and 3rd in class here with the car behind Richard Warmingham, and a watchful eye on proceedings here.
Yeah, Flanagan just got the inside, but now for the inside around this turn 8-esque Turkey corner. Around the outside goes Flanagan. That was great, a little bit of contact. Just had to get on the brakes there. I think it's going to be Luke Clark just to hang on for now. But that was a great little battle between the two of them. Clark started the lap ahead, and it was Flanagan going for the attack, but he couldn't quite make it work, and Richard Warmingham very much keeping a watchful eye out.
Great battle there, a little bit of contact, but it's all fair in the BSR anyway. Of course, and here comes our leader as well, Bart Daleman. This could be interesting. Been able to get past Warmingham already. You can see as well on the side of the car the red light, meaning he's in P1, as he has been all night. And he's just able to get by. Oh, and I think Luke's been a bit too courteous there, and Jim Flanagan was nearly allowed a way into that lead there.
Yeah, so it's difficult to manage the fast cars going past you, but he just about hung on, and that, I thought there was going to be a move there. I think, if anything, I think Jim may have just outbroken himself there and nearly ran into the back of Luke. Oh, right over the curb, and he's hung on somehow, but he's right under pressure. Richard Warmingham right behind. Jim Flanagan is going to go for, he's going to have to go around the outside, just going to try to get the cut back, but he's late on the brakes, and the team mad car around the outside goes Flanagan, and they're going to be side by side going to the hairpin. He's just going to slot back into the slipstream, but he's going to have a great chance at the end of this show.
Those curbs are lethal. We've seen so far tonight so many cars getting destroyed by them here, and Jim Flanagan, he wants this position, he wants this 2nd place in class. Lee Diemer isn't too far away from lapping these guys in a moment. He's just coming out of turn 12 now, and Rafe Cullinan isn't going to be too far away either. So they're going to have to deal with another LMP1 car in a moment as they go through the final sector of the circuit. Now got 20 minutes to go, so a regular race distance here in the BSR Imster Series to go. Now here comes Diemer, going to go round the outside of Warmingham. Going to be space there, and here comes Robinson on Zion Tchaikovsky. Colin Robinson's got past Anwar Smith, so that's just happened now. Just watching Lee Diemer get past the two Mercs. Oh, did he touch him there?
No, I didn't quite see it. I just pulled away ever so slightly. Yeah, I didn't quite see that contact.
I'm just having a look back myself. Just didn't know whether it was netcode, but just having a quick look now on chase camera. No, it was just the car bobbling around due to it being at such a low speed. But
oh, Rogers is on the roof.
Yeah. Oh wow, Kimberly Rogers is over. on the front straight. How
Oh,
did this...
wow, that's bizarre.
Right, she's gone... Oh, she outbrakes herself going into the final corner, then goes off on way off, so far off that our camera can't see it. Then back onto the track. Oh, gets sideways. That grass again, isn't it?
It's ice.
Yeah.
Disguised as grass. And yeah, fallen victim to it.
Well, she's still there. I don't know if she's got anyone that can help. And especially if any cars are fighting, they're going to have to deal with a upside down Merc in the middle of the front straight. So didn't see that every day. But yeah, while we were watching those LMP1 cars negotiate the Mercedes, Anwar Smith was battling away with Colin Robinson, and Robinson briefly had 4th position, best of the rest. Oh my goodness me, this Porsche battle is still going on. Gafencu versus McNally. Two teammates. I wonder if they're in communication with each other. Oh, off goes McNally. And this will allow Gafencu now the chance to get back in the lead. It's all going pretty nicely here until it's going to get gate crashed by Scott Malcolm, who is trying to get past these cars for position.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here, Scott. Hopefully he won't interrupt this battle. But yeah, these Porsches are they're so evenly matched, and they occasionally make an error which swaps around the positions. But this is going to go right down to the wire because there's absolutely nothing between them, and they're side by side now, aren't they? No, McKnight just slots in behind, but he's going to have a great chance going into the hairpin. He's closing in. He's going to look to the inside, is he? No, a little bit defensive there, but McNally around the outside, just going to slot back into position, I think. A little bit careful on the brakes. Try to get the cut back now around the outside, and you can go side by side through these next few corners. And he's going to try, is McNally all the way around. He's going to have the inside for the next corner. Oh, bit of wheel spin down the inside again. He still hasn't got it though. They're still side by side going into the turn 8S corner all the way around the outside, but he's just gonna have to slot in behind, I think, unless he can get a run down into the penultimate corner. Not quite. Good defense there from Gafencu, but now back again comes McNally down the inside into the last corner. Not quite. And for now, I think Gafencu's just going to hang on to the lead.
A lock up there as well. Over the line they go. Battle's going to be resumed. Scott Malcolm's got the best view in the house here, keeping a watching brief just behind. Over the line we go on to lap 9 for these Porsches. Look at the amount of space they give each other going into this first corner. Gafencu will have such a poor exit that it will allow McNally back in. Indeed he does. Back up the inside they go. And we're going to go too wide again, going, look at the space they give each other again. They're just loving it here. Oh, that was nearly disaster for the two teammates. And they don't want to hit those curbs going through this section, because you've seen what's happened to Roy Verke. He hit them and his car got absolutely destroyed. He is back out on circuit, Verke, but he is at the very, very back. John Watson hasn't been able to get back going either. Battle for second place on in the LMP1s. Lee Deemer and Rafe Cullinan very close to each other. Very, very poor lap by Deemer as well. 4 seconds slower. Bart Delman's on the previous lap. So the battle for the second place trophy is still up for grabs here, as we've just got over a quarter of an hour to go.
Yeah, maybe just got caught up in a little bit of traffic. I think he's been a bit unlucky as Lee in the traffic. We saw a little bit earlier him getting stuck behind a couple of cars, and that's allowed Ralph to close right in. Ralph got good pace right now in the 47s, which I think is his fastest times of the day. And yeah, he's just got let's see if he's got any useful energy. We saw earlier on, not sure who it was, but they just went straight around the other car. He's going to go down the inside. That's great. They're side by side. Whoever's got the most energy now is going to pull ahead, and it looks as though it's ever so slightly Ralph. But back into the slipstream goes Lee Deemer. Has he got anything to provide around the outside now? Just going to back off. I think it's going to be Ralph Coleman to take the position, but he's just locked up. And once again, he's going to go around the outside, but not quite, and Ralph hangs on.
Good battle now, seeing Ralph Cullinan and Lee Deemer. Max Wright's coming to the pits. I'm sure that's a driver that's thought that it's still a 20-minute race, because we've just gone past the 20-minute mark and Wright's coming to the pit lane for an 8-second stop. I'm sure, most certain that that's fuel related. It is a shame for Wright because he's now behind. And into the pits comes Rafe Cullinan. Now, am I not looking at the rulebook correctly? And is there a mandatory pit stop that's needed to be done? Because that is the second car that's come in, and I'm almost certain that two drivers can't have got the fuel rules mixed up. So I'm going to quickly look through the rulebook and see whether there is a mandatory pit stop for this third race.
Oh, yeah, Cullinan's come into the pits as well. Well, they're limited fuel, and maybe that means that they can't get to the end of the race.
Right.
So maybe it's not mandatory, but they just ran out of fuel.
Okay. Well, yeah, pit stops looks like they will be happening then. Didn't expect that then. So two cars into the pits. Cullinan gets underway. He's only lost a position. About a steamer back into second place. 12.9 second stop for him, 8.1 second stop for Max Wright. I didn't think those pit stop times would be relevant, so that's why I'm bringing them up now. I'll wait and see if anybody else comes in. Looks like Richard Kafenko and Adam McNally's battle has now been put on hold. I say that is because Scott Malcolm decided to get in the mix. Now we've got a 3-car scrap on our hands as the 74 Merc tries to get past the 18 Porsche here. Oh, a little lock up there by McNally. And battle continues. See if anyone else needs to come in for pit stops here with 13 minutes to go. And these Porsches are doing a fantastic job of keeping Scott Malcolm at bay. Here comes car 254. This is Lee Deemer. Hasn't had to come into the pits yet. And he will be. Looks like it's fuel just for the Porsches, it looks like. Looks like they use a bit more fuel than everybody else.
I think they're limited to less. I don't know too bad. It'd be odd if only the Porsches have to pit, but that might be how it is. Gafenko and McNally right on Gafenko's tail, so this battle is right back on. Just thinking, where's Deemer's going to come out, because he was very close to
Cullinan,
to Cullinan. And in fact, this is going to be clear. I think Cullinan's going to have it. No, this is going to be close. I think Cullinan coming down the pit straight across the line. And Deemer has just about got it, but he's come to a standstill there. But he's still got the position. He's into P2 as Deemer.
I only get information on the Porsche. Oh my goodness me! How on earth did Rafe Cullinan not collide with Vlad Zajankovski there? I don't know, because they were very, very close there. He's now going to get past Colin Robinson. Those two Ferraris fighting over the Ferrari lead. And yeah, Rafe Cullinan back out on circuit. Anthony Jacobston into the pits in the GT3 with the Confederate flag at the top. Yeah, he'll be making a pit stop now. I've joined as a Porsche Cup car, Sam, and the fuel limit there is 45%, so I wonder if they'll be expecting a pit stop as well.
Well, McNally and Gafenko side by side again. McNally round the outside, he's going to try to pull off the same move as earlier on. And Gafenko, they both got a slide. McNally, will he go for the inside? Not quite. But yeah, this battle. I think we're spending half our time concentrating on it because it is just so entertaining, these two. They are the only two Porsches in the field, but they're certainly making up for it.
Yeah, they almost had synchronised crashing there, the two teammates. Thank you, leading the Porsche class, and Adam McNally in second. Wait and see if anybody else comes into the pits on this lap. The two Porsche Cup cars definitely aren't, as McNally trails a front left brake there going into the final corner. 10 minutes to go. Only 4 cars have come in for official pit stops, so it looks like some people are using their fuel better than others. And yeah, maybe some cars have just been saving the fuel pretty well. I say that, into the pits comes Anwar Smith, the leader of the GT3s in, and this will allow the 2 Ferrari GTEs through. And I'll wait and see if anybody else in the GT3 class comes in. Jim Flanagan is second place in the class. Him and Luke Clark are still pretty close to each other. They're just coming into the penultimate corner now, and we'll see if they come into the pits too, Sam.
Yeah, it seems like neither of them are. So they're staying out. I haven't seen anyone else come in on this lap apart from, of course, Smith coming in. Warmingham, no, he didn't come in. So yeah, it seems to be, we don't quite know the situation right now. For second and third, Ralph Cullinan right on the tail now of Lee Deemer, down to 0.7 of a second. Deemer just managed to pull away a little bit there, but Cullinan very much looking for the overtake.
Very, very weird, this whole fuel thing. I wonder if we're setting ourselves up for a grandstand final 9 minutes where everybody's going to source and surge in. But yeah, Rafe Cullinan and Lee Deemer now. We saw two Porsches fighting very close in the Cup class. This is now the LMP1s, and that is a cutting the corner, certainly from Lee Deemer. Looks like he's got away with it, but he was almost 4 wheels on the inside. Max Verstappen knows all about the cutting the corners here at Circuit of the Americas, and he lost the podium there as well. Oh, Deemer, massive tank slapper. That was very close.
I only saw the start of that slide and I thought he's guaranteed to lose that one. Oh, he's lost it again. It's side by side. A little bit of extra energy there for Cullinan, and that was enough to pull him ahead. I don't think Deemer's got a response, so Deemer just slots into third and Cullinan up into second. Deemer's late on the brakes again. Cullinan's off the track. But yeah, second and third now for Cullinan and Deemer respectively.
Clark and Flanagan at it now in the two Mercs. And these two will be coming in a moment. Here comes car 19. Daleman's put, I believe, a second lap on them. Quickie's been here today, and he hasn't even had to make a pit stop. Wonder if he will have to make one at the end of this lap. We'll wait and see. Delman is coming in. Is he going to be joined by the two GT3s? He's joined by one of them. Jim Flanagan into the pits.
So it seems as though everyone's got to pit then, apart from maybe the GTEs, perhaps. But yeah, it seems like all the GT3s and all the LMP1s do have to pit.
See what pit stop time it's going to be then for Dowman. 9.4 seconds. Almost certainly he's going to be rejoining in the lead. Doubt Cullinan and Deemer have been able to make an inroads of a minute. No, they haven't. Birmingham's in. Hardy is also into the pits as well. So order changing drastically here with a few minutes to go. Anwar Smith still in control at the front. The GT3 cars that haven't pitted yet are Luke Clark, Adam Broughton-Grant, and that is it. David Ayres yet to come in. Colin Robinson also yet to come in, and same for Vlad Zajankovsky. Also not in yet are our two Porsche Cup cars of McNally and Gafencu, who have actually spread apart a little bit now. Gafencu's coming through the Istanbul Turn 8 section, while McNally is only just going into it now, so a bit of a gap now between these two, and he's now getting lapped by the two Ferraris that are battling for the lead here. This is Vlad versus Colin, and they both stay out. Same for Gafencu as well. I wonder if McNally might come in. No, he doesn't. 6 minutes to go. Not so many more laps to go either, so I wonder if they could be timing it just well enough that they could get to the end here. But for the most part, everyone has seemed to make a pit stop so far. See if Luke Clark will. He was battling with Jim Flanagan as well, so this is going to be very interesting to see whether the outlap from Flanagan was good enough to keep him ahead of Clark here as Clark comes in.
Yeah, Flanagan overshot his pit box slightly, so he could lose a crucial couple of seconds, which might be enough for him to lose the position. Max Wright, who has also pitted, actually is ahead of Jim Flanagan, so Max Wright, I think, is in the net lead then of the GT3s, or maybe net second place of the GT3s. It's hard to tell, and Clark's still stationary. Right, just coming into the final corner now, and Clark
Flanagan
just pulling away.
Flanagan coming then. Pit lane speed here at Circuit of the Americas is 64 kilometers an hour. Flanagan coming across the line now. Out of the pits is Luke Clark. Who's going to be ahead? It's definitely Luke Clark. Luke Clark's gone through the first corner, so Clark has got a nice healthy advantage now after him and Flanagan were very close when the pit stops were being made. Flanagan now has to deal with this Ralph Cullinan LMP1 that's just going past. There we go. Warmingham versus Anthony Jacobson. Oh, this is very close here. And behind, they've got one of the Porsches. That is, I believe it's our leader, I think. No, it isn't. It's the other one. It's Lee Deemer trying to get past these two with 4 minutes to go. Not so many more laps left either, as Lee Deemer tries to find a way past these two squabbling Mercs.
Yeah, it's difficult to commit to moves around here because it can, you know, this track narrows and it expands, and really is difficult for the LMP1s to make the moves cleanly, particularly through those S's. But I think Deemer did well there just to hang back for a couple of corners and make sure they made the move cleanly as he did. But he's now 10 seconds behind Cullinan, so that's clear that Cullinan seems to be getting this second place and Deemer in third.
Vlad Zajkowski in, so we've seen now that you can't get to the end in a Ferrari. 4.8 second stop, literally splash and dash for those Ferraris, and away goes Vlad with 3 minutes to go. Colin Robinson then leads the way in the Ferrari class, been there or thereabouts today. It looks like he's on course for a victory, unless he needs to pit as well. Adam Broughton-Grant in then, from second in class, the Audi R8 in, and he's out of fuel. I think the car's bobbling around on the rev limiter. Maybe that's just the speed limiter doing that. But yeah, Broughton-Grant in with 3 minutes to go. He's going to drop a little bit down the order as David Ayres now comes in as well. So the only Ferrari yet to come in is Colin Robinson. Him, Gafencu and McNally are the 3 cars that are yet to stop, and it looks like if the Porsches in the Cup class can get around another lap, they are going to be able to get to the end without having to make a pit stop.
Well, I think the Porsche should go about 1 hour 15, and the Porsche fuel limit is 45%. So that suggests that they should get to the end. It should be marginal, but they should just about have enough fuel to get to the end, or it's literally going to be a splash and dash. Maybe they're trying to save fuel. We don't know. Maybe they're just lifting and coasting a few corners just to save enough fuel. McNally 3 seconds behind Gafencu, seems to be over that battle, but you know, if they're tight on fuel, we could perhaps see a grandstand finish.
Colin Robinson then is in, so every Ferrari is in now. It's just the 2 Porsches that are yet to stop. So Robinson in. We'll see where he is compared to Vlad Zajkowski, who's just coming through the Istanbul Turn 8 section. As we saw with Vlad, it's going to literally just be a stop and go, and may even be less than what Vlad had. Here we go. Stops in his box, hits his marks. First gear.
Oh, Vlad got held up and he's on the grass. Sorry, Vlad got held up behind. That was Scott Malcolm. And he's ahead still, Colin Robinson. Oh, wow. Robinson's stationing for a while.
Stops, yeah, and I don't know whether it's because he sped on his way into the pit lane. It definitely is. He's 80 kilometers an hour as he's at 90 kph as he hit the yellow cone. So that is definitely a stop and hold for speeding in the pit lane, and it has absolutely ruined his chances of taking the Ferrari win. It hasn't ruined his overall position, still in 6th, but a 34.8 second stop.
Yeah, that's really just disappointed me because they were really close before, weren't they? And just Luke Clark in the lead of that battle of GT3s that we saw. Anwar Burrell Smith still in the lead of the GT3s overall, but Luke Clark out in the lead of second place in the GT3, followed by Max Wright in third, two seconds behind. I don't think Wright's got the pace to catch up, but he'll certainly give it a go.
Adam Broughton-Grant's come into the pits in the final 30 seconds for another splash and dash. 7.4 second stop for him. Yeah, Anwar Smith now back in the lead. The only 2 cars yet to stop are now Gafencu and McNally, and with 18 seconds to go, there's still a chance that they could come in at the end of this one. Bart Delman is going to come through the penultimate corner now. 10 seconds to go. He's going to make us do 1 extra lap, I think. 6 seconds left on the clock. Yeah, we are going to squeeze 1 more lap in here, and this could ruin this could ruin the Porsche strategy here, because they could be about to do a 1 lap extra than they originally envisaged. We'll see if Gafenko has to come in at the end of this lap. He is coming in. If this could have been the white flag lap and they would have been able to have got home, but the extra lap has really cost them, and I think Gafenko's out of fuel, is he? He was very, very slow there going into the pit lane. Where's McNally? Has he come in as well?
Slow as well.
Yeah. You said it was going to be tight, Sam, and yeah, that extra lap by Bart Delman has meant that they've played their hand, really. They've got to come in now. Last lap then, white flag out. And what a race meeting it's been from Bart Delman. Not often in a BSR race meeting where you see a driver win 3 races in a row. I think the only time that's ever happened was Sebastian Job in 2015 in the BSR TC Pro Series. 3 races in a row, won at Suzuka, which really set him on his way to winning the BSR TC Pro Series, and the rest, as you could say, is history. He now races in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series for Fernando Alonso's team, and I don't know how he got on it until August. Actually, I need to watch that back, but yeah, he's racing in that now. But Bart Delman about to join Sebastian Job in the winner sweep club as he comes into the final few corners. 17-second lead over Rafe Cullinan, and has looked utterly dominant since the start of the race meeting. Through the final corner, checker flag at the ready, and race 3 goes to Bart Delman. Second will be Rafe Cullinan, third will be Lee Diemer. Vlad Sanjakovsky has just been passed. Oh, please don't tell me he's out of fuel.
No. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think he's run out of fuel. Unless he's got to slow down.
Looks like it. I think he's got drive again. Yeah, I think he has.
He's still a bit slow. Yeah, he's still going slowly.
Oh, yeah, isn't it? Well, Lee Diemer's going to get 3rd position, and Anwar Smith is going to come through and pick out the win again. He got best of the rest in race 2. He's going to get best of the rest again here. Vlad Sanjakovsky is still going to be the winner in the Ferraris. Colin Robinson is nowhere near. So Vlad's going to come across the line, and I think he was just making sure that he had enough fuel to cross the line, actually, there, Sam, because look at how quick he is now. I think he was just had enough fuel to get to the end. Colin Robinson coming through the final corner then. He's going to get 2nd place in class. Now here comes Luke Clark. He's going to be the 2nd Merc. Was in a great battle with Jim Flanagan earlier before the pit stops took place. But the pink and white Mercedes is just coming through the final corner now, and we'll get 7th place overall. That's going to be 2nd in class. They're just waiting for Max right now in the Audi to come through. Jim Flanagan as well. Jim Flanagan got by on that last lap, in fact. So Flanagan 8th, 9th for Max Wright, 10th for Richard Warmingham. Pretty close there, closest battle in the field. And Anthony Jacobson and Adam Broughton Grant's just about to come through. Richard Gafenko won in the Porsches, and he's doing some celebratory donuts there. And Kimberly Rogers was able to finish ahead of Adam McNally, who was in the pits for 44 seconds. May have sped into the pit lane, or may have just put too much fuel in, or the tyres may have been changed by accident, whatever. He's coming through the final corner now to take the 18th spot, and Roy Ververke, 4 laps down, ends up finishing in 19th. So that is how it finished here. We'll run you through the finishing order then. Bart Delman wins, 2nd Rafe Cullinan, 3rd Lee Diemer, 4th for Anwar Smith, 5th for Vlad Sanjakovsky, the winning Ferrari, 2nd for Colin Robinson. Then 2nd place in the GT3's Luke Clark, then Jim Flanagan, Max Wright in 4th, 5th Richard Warmingham, 6th Anthony Jacobson, and 7th Adam Broughton Grant. Then the 3rd of the Ferraris, David Ayres, and the 4th Ferrari and Carl Hardy, and Scott Malcolm. Then the winning Porsche, Richard Gafenko, then Kimberly Rogers, who was on her roof at one point, Adam McNally, Roy Ververke, John Watson, failed to finish again. 3 DNFs for Johnny. He'll be hoping for better things at Alton Park next week. Couldn't really go to a much more different circuit in Alton Park, Sam. It's pretty narrow and much shorter than this one. It's going to be interesting to see how the LMP1s are going to handle that track for sure.
Yeah, that's they weren't exactly designed to go around Alton Park, were they? So that's going to be very interesting. And yeah, just the multi-class factor as well, especially if we keep this grid format with the opening few corners. Yeah, that could be even more chaotic than this time round. But overall, good meeting. I think we saw a little bit of carnage, didn't we, in the first couple of races? But I think it all calmed down a little bit at the end there. Max Wright, actually, we saw him lose position on that last lap. He actually spun with a few corners to go, which cost him about 10 seconds, and he came home in, I think he finished 4th in class, so that's what cost Max Wright in the end. He'll be kicking himself for that one, I think.
Yeah, I reckon so. Overly doesn't worry him too much, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be back at Alton Park next week. Right then, that is it from here at Circuit of the Americas. We can remind you though that tomorrow we've got the return of the World GT Championship on Apex Racing TV, followed by the Ritmotech Sports Car Series at a slightly earlier time because the hours have changed in America, but not here in the UK. So that will be at 12:15 in the morning rather than 1:15. Then Tuesday we've got. Actually, no, we haven't got. I don't think we've got a series starting yet on Tuesday. I can't clarify that. But Thursday we've got the return of the British Sim Racers Touring Car Champion. I believe Alex Simpson may be racing it. As far as I'm aware, I think that will help him get some of the Sperry points. They are the rave at the moment, I think. And yeah, the BSR TC will be back on Thursday. Me, Andrew Wishausen, and Alex Simpson, and possibly Sam Kuma, I don't know, we'll be back for that one. But yeah, that is it from here at Circuit of the Americas today. Bart Dellman, clean sweep. I'm sure I'll be hoping for more of the same at Alton Park next week. We'll be back at the same time on Apex Racing TV next Sunday. But for now, from the BSR IMSA series, bye for now.